I always have to sit here and wait. Are we on here? Is we live? Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bunker Nation. My name is Michael Bunker. I'm going to be your host for the evening. I appreciate you being here. We got Pennsylvania in the house, Ohio, Michigan. Looks like Texas, and Texas. I know we lost like 3 when I came on. We lost half. Half of the people that were on here dropped off. Man, you never know. Oregon's here. All right, they're back. All right, you guys, punch the like button. Punch it like it was me. Man, I don't even see myself. I don't see myself. I don't have a mirror. I don't look in a mirror. And then when this thing finally comes on live, I'm like, whoa. So this bunch of people sent me shirts and stuff, and a friend sent me some shirts, and they fit pretty good, but this neck is all stretched out, and I got white boy neck. So hello, Mississippi. Well, we got a bunch of y'all here. Good to see y'all. Glad everything's going good. Weird day today. Had a little rain roll in. Hello, Tennessee. Had a little rain roll in 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. About the time I usually get up, but I had been up all night. Let me tell you about that. So when I left here last night after talking to you guys, I walked up there and pig had gotten out. Just threw everything, threw all the barrels, threw everything, destroyed everything. And so then I couldn't find her, didn't no idea where she was. So I stayed up. Hello, Frank. Hello, Galveston Bay. So I ended up getting up every hour. I slept a little, but I got up about every hour and walked around. There's Danielle, my love. Glad to see you here. And so, I got up and walked around looking for her. Never did find her. So about 2:30 or 3, this rain rolled in. And so I thought, and of course the pig had thrown all the water barrels. I mean, everything. So I went out, lined up all the water barrels, got everything hooked up. We caught some water, not a whole lot. Got some in the cistern, cooled it off really, really nice. So it was cool most of the day. So the reason I'm telling you this is that we didn't get any solar. So about 2:30, 2:20, the sun came out. And so I was down here and I was recording for the full day video. And I said, well, it's going to be a race tonight. Going to see if we get enough power, because I don't store enough power to do one of these shows at night. I got to get it during the day. And so, I got the Yeti 400 plugged into the solar panels and everything that I could get going. And so it looks like we got 40% in the Yeti 400. That's running the laptop now. It's running. This light is running on battery, and it's running the internet. So I think we're going to make it. I think we won. So I was like, all day long, I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to do a show tonight. I have no idea. So hello, everybody. Come on in, say hi. Type into the comment section, which depending on where you are, for me, it's down here. But type into the comment section. Let me know, where you are, what's going on. If you have any questions or comments or anything you want to talk about, we don't have to talk about what I want to talk about. We can talk about what you want to talk about. Not that I don't have things to say. Prosper, Texas. Hello. Well, we got a good showing here tonight. A lot of things going on in the world. I caught 5 minutes of not news, but of seeing things on the interwebs flash by. Weird, wild stuff, isn't it? A lot of like what we were talking about yesterday. Who knows what route we're going to go down to get where we're going, but we're going someplace. So I got to get something off my chest. A little something. You guys know me. I like to, I take out the trash. I handle my business. And so I don't just open my comment section up just for every wandering idiot to come by and blather. And I'm not above taking somebody out at the knees if that's what they need, if that would be the ultimate course of love towards them. Some people need to be taken off at the knees. And so I got comment. I guess it was on yesterday's live, and I hope this idiot's watching tonight. So this guy, he starts off, he's like, first of all, let me tell you what. I've been doing this long enough, in 20 years, I can see a sociopath a mile, 2 miles, 50 miles away. I can see him coming 50 miles away. And there are these red flags, and I've got them all down pat. And so this guy starts off with his praise. He's like, I read your book in 2010, 2011. Oh, it really changed my life. That and some other books put me on the course to where I am now. And I'm thankful to you for that. And then the whole conversation took a turn. And really, it was this guy sitting there going, well, I used to like you back then, but not so much the videos, not so much. And it seems like, I don't know what it is. Something I don't like. Maybe you're not as convicted as you were then. And then he goes, and here's one of the big sociopath red flags. I apologize for being direct. That's not being direct. All you did is tell me what you like or what you think. That's not being direct. Being direct is telling somebody something about themselves that's true. You didn't say anything about me. All you said is what you thought. And so that tells me you have a really, really high regard for your opinion of what other people should be doing with their life. Hello, Ann. The reason I bring this up is it's not the first time. I've had this a couple of times lately. Some people, I don't like the beard. I don't like that you shaved your beard. I don't like that you're not wearing Amish clothes. I don't either. I don't have any money. I'm broke. And I'm skinny. I could go. Thank you, Terry, for the super chat. That's very helpful. I could go put on my Amish clothes. I'd look like a 4-year-old wearing his daddy's clothes. But the whole point is like, who are you? Who is this guy? Somewhere, nowhere, wherever he is, sitting in his little Unabomber hut, says, I watched you back in 2010, 2011. I watch you now, and not so much. Don't like you. Where in the world will you think that I would care what you think? Did I come knock on your door? Like, excuse me, I was wondering what you thought about what I'm doing now. I'm 53 years old. I wasn't 53 years old 2010. People change. I had children at home. I was doing a lot of different things. I'm laughing because it's funny and this guy actually thinks, he was like sitting there at the keyboard thinking, you know what that Michael Bunker needs? He needs to know what I think about what he's doing right now. He's probably sitting there, just got off his show, probably sitting there in the afterglow thinking, some guy in his Unabomber hut up in Michigan or wherever, Montana, I don't know where this guy is, Idaho, that guy is the answer to everything that I need to know about what I should be doing right now. And this is pretty normal, by the way. This is not abnormal. Somehow, and I have a relationship with you people. Hello, Montana. Hello, Tennessee. I missed a bunch of you. Galveston Bay, saw you. If I have a relationship with you, if we've had concourse, if there's been some back and forth and all of that, some indication that I have even the slightest bit of an inkling of who you are or why I should even care. I could see you going, hey, you've changed and that's your deal, but maybe it's not mine. I don't know. I don't know even where I can't imagine a universe existing where I would ever do that. Where I would ever look at somebody and go, listen, Tom Hanks, I liked you on Big. You were the man on Big. But then you started doing all these train crash and airplane pilot movies. I don't like those. You should stop. Anyways, yeah, you're right. And people think the sun revolves around them. But I wanted to get to the point. The point was at the very end of it, he says, I apologize for being direct. This is a thing. And by the way, I'm very serious right now. This is a thing among sociopaths. And it covers a lot of area. And this thing is that the self-glorification of asshole behavior. Oh, my wife's on here. I'm sorry, Danielle. I'll come up with another word. People that are on Facebook that sit there and they glory in the fact that somebody blocked them, or nobody likes me because I tell the truth. Maybe nobody likes you because you're unlikable. Have you thought about that? Maybe the one thing all of those people have in common is you are a jerk. I understand what it's like for people not to like you for your opinions. I understand what it's like for people not to like you because you're right about something that pisses them off. I understand what it's like for people not to like you because you say something is going to happen and then it happens and they didn't want it to happen, but it happened. But that doesn't mean that everything that I say to anybody, however jerk-filled, that they don't like it because of some glowing part of my character. Yeah, I don't want to be an asshole, but you see this all the time. There's whole memes about it. There's whole memes where people, their whole self-worth is hinged on self-martyrdom. That somehow people not liking you is evidence of your quality. People may not like you because you're a truth teller and because you are unafraid and you tell the truth in love. That's possible, but it's probably not likely. Most likely, people don't like you because you're unlikable. Let's start with that. And so this is part of it. This guy saying, I apologize for being direct. You typed it on a computer. You hadn't even hit send yet. If you were apologizing, you would freaking backspace, you moron. Don't say I'm sorry about something you're still going to do. You're still going to do it. Why are you saying I'm sorry about it? You're not sorry. You're a liar. Am I yelling? I'm yelling and I don't know why. Am I yelling like right into the microphone? Thank you, Terry, for that super chat. That was very nice. That made my day. Oh, people don't like me because I'm a truth teller. We'll see. We'll see about that. And the funny thing about that is this guy's probably watching this and now he's like mad. He's mad, even though everything I said about him is true. And he's probably, I've supported you for 10, 11 years. Really? This is one I always love. They bought something for themselves, a book. They enjoyed it. They got something out of it. And somehow that's translated in them having supported me for 10 or 11 years. There are people on here who have supported me for 20 years, 25 years, maybe even longer. There's people, and I know who you are. But this guy ain't one of them. I never even heard of you, Richard. And so it's like, and you hear this, I get this all the time. I was like, I've been one of your fans for 10 years. So you apparently got something out of it. I don't know what I got out of it. 74 cents because you bought the book? You want it back? Yeah, when people say sorry and really don't mean it, that's right. Anyways, I wanted to get that. That's not even my rant. That's just me thinking about that today and just laugh. I just laughed all day. I laughed at this clown. Here's the thing, guy. If you are who you say you are, you're a Christian man and all that, write back and apologize. That would be great. That would be new. That never happens. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, Daniel. Yeah. Yeah, you bought bacon from me once, so now I owe you. And it's so funny, Mars, that those people those are the same people who have no understanding of how economics works. That you paid for something and you got it, and somehow the transaction wasn't over. You know, somehow like I'm now in further debt. I was in debt before just because they liked me, and now I'm in debt because they bought a book or something. All right, so I'll stop that. But I tell you, I don't apologize for taking off idiots at the knees. That's why I don't just open up my comment section up to every troll that wants to roll by and self-aggrandize themselves just to make themselves feel better. Because they feel like if they take on the biggest kid on the block, that somehow they're going to feel better about themselves. I delete comments all the time. I delete your comments. A lot of times it's not worth me going down and going, okay, here's why I deleted your comment. I just delete it. It's my comment section. All right, y'all. So what I wanted to talk about today is survival, preparedness as an ultimate act of love. We mentioned this the other night, but society, particularly the most, what do we want to call them? The consumerist mindset within society has elevated their own unpreparedness to righteousness, to be an equal with righteousness. So however unprepared you are, that's the equivalent of how righteous you are. And we've all seen it, and I've given examples of it, and we've talked about it on here before. And in doing so, we talk about the negative. We're talking about the negative of the proposition. When in reality, the positive of the proposition is that most people, and I say most, a large portion of people who engage in any level of preparedness are doing it as an act of love. I've met people who are squirreled away in their Unabomber hut, preparing for the end times, or preparing for the, I don't know, whatever, Pizzagate. I don't know. I've met people that were selfishly thinking that they were going to make it through whatever apocalyptic event by themselves, and somehow there was some value in that. But that's like, there are people like that who are unprepared. That's a small percentage. Most of the people who I've ever met that are involved in prepping, however much I disagree with whatever their motivation is, or if I disagree with their method, they do it out of a sense of love. Daniel, why are you asking me that? I don't know much about them. I know a lot of people don't believe in heaven. That's what John Lennon was singing, I guess, right before he died. Imagine there's no heaven. Anyways, going back to my point, preparedness fundamentally is an act of love. Saying, I believe that I can help people. I can be prepared to help people. I can be prepared to help my family. Starting locally, starting with my wife and children, that the better I am prepared, the better I'm going to be able to help them or help others. I went off on a rant a week ago where I said, I'm trying to get my mind around the idea that somehow unpreparedness is a virtue, because it's not. But contrarily, preparedness is a virtue because it allows us to be established as a point of mobility or of immobility or of solidness, something that is there that can be helpful. When we're cast adrift, if you fall into a raging river, you lash around with your hands trying to find grip so your hands could find purchase so that you could lift your head up out of the water. You're looking for something solid. The society has said insolidity is somehow a virtue. If everybody is equally lost in the turmoil of the rage of the river, somehow that's virtuous. But today I wanted to take the other tack, and that is to say, I believe that deliberate living, and I'm not limiting how that's defined to preppers. I don't consider myself a prepper. I don't really consider myself a survivalist. I consider myself a homesteader. I like home, and I like being able to provide a good percentage of what we eat or consume or use. But however you want to define that stability, thank you, Wardog Heim, for the super chat. Super chaps. But thank you for being a super chap. Super chats are very helpful from the blue skies of Montana. When the church became corrupt, early the 6th and 7th century, they at least had a concept that solidity gave something to hold on to. They were wrong about what that solidity was, and so they built cathedrals bigger than the mind at the time could apprehend. But the inkling was that the world was adrift and it needed something to hold on to. One of the benevolences of the Reformation was the idea that the building was not really the thing, but that the church was the building. The church, the people were the building, and that was what was supposed to be solid. And Paul goes into great depth to talk about the building of the edifice, the temple, of which we are lively stones placed into this edifice, this temple, not made with hands. That solidity has ramifications. Certainly, it's a great value for us to be spiritually stable, to know what we believe and why we believe it, to have an answer when someone has a question about our faith, to be able to rightly represent our faith system. But the other ramification of that is that we do not allow ourselves to be flighty and unsolid in other areas of our life. One of the things I talked about in one of the very first shows that we did here was that the mind of modern man is fragmented, and he has these severed crevices have been driven, these spikes have been driven into the mind and separated it off. That's why people can do very, very, very specialized regimented work, and they don't think about where their food comes from or why there's water coming through the pipe or electricity. Their minds are fragmented. They don't think in wholes. When we have our mind healed, when we decolonize, that mind becomes whole. The interconnectedness of all of these things, it shows us the ramifications of all of them. That's right, Daniel. Sustainability, or the ability to be a stabilizer in a very unstable world, provides for us the ability to reflect and distribute love, because we have found, if we had, in my belief system, if I found stability and love toward me while I was adrift, then I have an obligation to be that stability for others, whether it's starting with my family, starting with those closest to me, the household of faith. You see, it's not, there has been a massive propaganda effort to say that going out and preparing is selfishness. Isn't that interesting? It's the exact opposite of selfishness. Preparing allows me to be a stabilizer, not just in my relationships in my family, but in my community. And so I just want to encourage you to not get this wrong. Many people go and they get convicted. I could convict you if you're a believer with scripture. The scripture teaches what I'm saying absolutely, completely from cover to cover. I could convict you with current events. I can convict you with wisdom. I can convict you of all these things, but then you would walk away from me and you have all of the world and the devil telling you that's just selfishness. You're much less selfish if you just cast yourself into the raging river of instability, because that shows faith. You notice their faith is always vaporous. They use the word faith, but there's no there. It's vaporware. You can't ever pin it down. It's like trying to nail jello into a tree. And so you may feel convicted and go, I know I need to do some things. At the very least, we should have a garden. It's healthy. It's wise. It's smart for my family. And then you start thinking, okay, well, then perhaps we could do, the bunker principle shows us we might have a different way to cook, maybe have 2 or 3 different ways to cook, depending on if we lose access to these services. Maybe we want to move a little farther down this line, and maybe we want to see how much food we can produce on a half an acre. But then you'll get into that, however convicted you are, and your church and your people that you know, and all these people are going to act like you are crazy and you are selfish. Yeah, if you're preparing, you don't have faith. I've been told that for 20 years. And like I said the other day, I noticed these people don't ever just miracle food into their mouth. They don't ever believe what they say. They're just cowards. Ooh, doggy, I'm thirsty. Yeah, the faithless tell us we need to rely on faith. No, their faith is undefinable, indescribable, and undefinable. It's faith in faith, with faith being undefined. I got in a lot of trouble a couple of years ago explaining this very issue because I said that most of the world that calls themselves Christians worship a contextless Christ. So it's Christ of a name and Christ of an office, but there's no person, there's no there. There's nothing definable. And I've talked on here about the fact that every religion ought to be exclusive. Otherwise, it's not a religion, it's an opinion. So here's the thing. My encouragement to you is to realize and recognize that your act of love is not going to be seen by the world as an act of love, maybe not even by people close to you. Chastisement, we learn in the scripture, is not pleasant at the moment. And that's because we don't have the ability. We're like an amoeba or a growth on a petri dish in a big, huge laboratory. We can't even see out of the petri dish, but there's this whole universe and different dimensions that we can't even see of stuff that's going on, and God knows all of that stuff. And we think we can figure it out, but we can't. And so the things that we're told to do, we do them by faith and we do them by love. Love is the motivating force, and it's also the expression of that motivating force. We ought to be in a world where everyone wasn't blind. We would be heralded as people like prophets sent to prepare the way, to show people their dependency, to show them that their idolatry of government and systems. But they can't see, and they by nature, because they are darkness, they hate light. But my encouragement to you is to recognize that your inkling, even if you're not there yet, your motivation to see the world as it is and not how the fantasy that's been painted for you about it indicates it should be. The inkling that you have, the pull that you have to prepare mentally and spiritually, physically, for whatever comes next, to be able to evangelize and stabilize in your area, starting with your family and your loved one in the household of faith. Those inklings are there for a reason, and that's because it's an expression of love. It's a reflection of love. And it ought to be encouraged. And I want to encourage you to take that and run with it. Take that and believe it, because it'll help you stand against idiots out there who absolutely believe that somehow, despite their, I won't even get into what all that is, but despite their comparative unspiritual nature historically, somehow God is just going to miracle them out of any trouble that he didn't do for any number of the saints in history. And so that's the thing. I'm not saying that you ought to do what you don't feel convicted to do. I'm just saying don't lie to yourself, first of all, but don't let somebody else talk you out of it just because you believed it and you think it's the right thing to do. But then socially and culturally, there's a sanction against it. You could live in a regular house with a regular picket fence and with a regular garage, and you decide you're going to put up some stores, and maybe you put it in a root cellar, and they're going to start saying you have a compound. It's a compound. Who taught them that? The media? I don't know how many times I've been just sitting in a restaurant or sitting somewhere, and these people come and they're completely brainwashed. Completely brainwashed. They don't even know the words that are coming out of their mouth. It's just the stuff that they've heard because they watched movies. In every movie, the preparedness guy is a whack job. Every movie. There's a guy, and they got to go get some help from him, but he's got like down the basement with a ham radio and got him a shotgun, and he's typing off missives to some guy on YouTube saying, "I used to like you, but I don't know more." But every movie has that guy, right? They're like, we got to go get her. We got to go get a ham radio. Well, who's got one? Whoa, Leroy Jenkins got one. Leroy Jenkins. We got to go over there, but he might shoot us. He's ready for the end of the world. All those tropes exist for a reason. They are to put up a bulwark between people and that expression of love that would cause them to be in a place to help other people and to not be a part of the problem. So that's just something to think about. If you guys have any questions or comments, I'd be glad to hear them. And the manna from heaven, Daniel, while it was an absolute gift, fell on people who perished in the desert for their unbelief. He did provide, but he provided that as a testimony against their unfaithfulness. They did not enter the promised land, but a handful. I always love that. God provided manna in the wilderness. Yeah, he did. And then he let them die there for their unfaithfulness. Except for the faithful couple few. All right, y'all. So I'm waiting for you. If you have questions or comments, we got 16 likes and we need like, I don't know, a bunch more. Wanted to tell you guys, I appreciate your you being here. I appreciate you guys tuning in and taking your evening to spend it here in the Bunker Nation with all of us. In the description down below, you'll find all kinds of handy links and things that I recommend. I don't get paid. I don't have any sponsors yet. But I don't get paid by any of those people. But if you do buy anything from Amazon through one of those links or anything else while you're there, I do get I get a couple of drachmas. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm going to finish my water. And then if you're not asking questions, I'm going to go up there and clean up and go to bed. You had a lot of questions. I did not copy them. Hold on. Let me pull them up. My mouse stops working if I don't use it. Hold on just a minute. I will pull up said comments and I will read them. And then I will answer what I can. All right. Everybody still there? I have not seen any more snakes. I thought I might see one this morning because it was really cool and then it got warm. It was like 83 after it was really cool. Okay, questions. Have you thought about using the video of the challenge as part of your audition for the movie? Maybe a specific day you would film in character, especially as you know the character better than anyone else. Give them something to think about. I had not thought about that. I probably won't do it on this challenge. That's one of the most difficult parts of this particular role is that Goa does not speak a normal form of English. And without people knowing what I was doing, that episode would be really weird. I did think about it once you asked about it, and I may do something like that, but I don't know. I need to put on the weight for me to even feel like the character. I'm banging around in this chair is so loud. I'm glad you were communing with your shotgun. Let me go to the next one. With 22 days into the challenge and you've already doubled, if not tripled, your food supply situation with the recent canning activity, are you planning to add to your stock with dehydrating some of the food? What is your favorite technique for long-term storage of food? All right. I probably will not do any dehydrating. My neighbor's got a real neat non-electric dehydrator that's a solar dehydrator. I'd like to build one of those, but I don't have one. Normally, I would dehydrate things like vegetables, and we have done. I have some drying racks, vegetables, or mesquite pods, herbs, and since I don't have much of a garden yet, there's really not anything for me to dehydrate. I definitely wouldn't do meat at this temperature. Uh, it would happen if things were as bad as I'm portraying. That can't happen. In other words, what I would do is I would salt the meat for probably a week before I hang it to dry, like biltong or jerky. One of the ideal solutions for that is to build a screen room. So it'd be something like a greenhouse, but it's all made of screens. And in Africa, the guy was telling me about the way they did meat in Africa is they had these screen rooms they built. And so everybody would come in together. They would kill a cow or whatever. They would cut up all the meat into long strips, and then they would have their name tags on there, and they would hang it in their community screen room. And that's how it would dry. But the screen room would keep the bugs off of it. Right now at this temperature, trying to dehydrate meat would be problematic. One of the reasons that indigenous people and others would, when they dehydrated meat, quite often they saturated them in things that our modern palate would find to be unpalatable, like heavy pepper or some herbs that are very, very bitter that would keep the bugs away. And then they would hang the meat. Other times they did it in the winter, of course, but a screen room would be fantastic. And I have an intention, and I've had an intention of building one. My favorite way of preserving food is lacto fermentation, not meat per se, but vegetables and all that. I love lacto fermented food. It's delicious. Pickles, sauerkraut, all of that. And then I would say second to that would probably be making charcuterie, hams, bacon, curing during the winter. How are the chickens? Still doing great. Got 4 little chicks. They're doing good. No new baby chicks, but I got a new broody hen. She's sitting on some eggs, and I gathered some up, and I'm going to wait till I got about 10 or 12. I'm going to stick them under her. And so hopefully, if this keeps going on throughout the spring and maybe into the summer, maybe we can get quite a few. The thing is, you got to add 4 times as many birds as you're going to need. So, for example, if like I'm about to butcher 5 hens, to replace those 5 hens, I would need to have 20 chicks. Here's why. On average, to get a chick all the way up to laying stage, you're going to lose half. On average, 50%. So even if you order chicks from the hatchery, if you order 100, you may do really well. Maybe you've got a really nice outfit and you don't have any threats and you can get it done. You may get 75. Most people get about half of whatever they order to the laying stage. Some people a lot less. So I'm saying an average. So if we need 5, we need to hatch out 10. But half of those are going to be roosters. So we really need 20. If we want to end up with 5 hens, full grown, laying eggs, we need 20 chicks. And so I would love to get 30 to 50. And then if you end up with way more that make it and you end up with an abnormal, unstatistical number of hens, then great. If not, you end up with a bunch of roosters and you end up with a bunch of food. So it's all good. How's the beer? The beer is fantastic. I did not bottle the stout today, but I am going to bottle it in the morning. It has to be bottled in the morning if I'm going to be able to drink it on the last day of the challenge, which I really want to. And so my plan for today was to clean up from the butchering and the canning, which took most of the day, and to make sure that I'm prepared for bottling. I need to can up the sauerkraut, and I need to do laundry. So those all shifted to tomorrow because I baked bread. So I don't know if I've talked about it on here. I know it's in the full day videos, but a couple of days ago I made a loaf of bread out of 20-year-old wheat, and I used the yeast from the stout, and it did not make. There's any number of reasons, and I'm a bread guy. I make a lot of bread. Any number of reasons it didn't work. It could have been the wheat was just old, and it could have been the yeast. I didn't let it proof long enough or whatever. So I've been like craving bread. I just don't eat that many carbs, right? But I've been craving some good bread. And so I had these like carb tortillas at the beginning of the challenge, and I show those in the full day videos. I had like 4 left, and so I ate those. And so I could get those and put some peanut butter on it or some PB2 on there or something, and a little bit of honey, and it gets rid of your little carb cravings. And now I'm on the gain. I'm supposed to be gaining weight. I've been really, really like craving some bread. So today, I'm not giving up on my dream, but today I made bread and I had some with supper. It was fantastic. And I'm going to have some when I go back up there with some peanut butter and honey on it. No, we don't have a sourdough starter. We've done sourdough before, but, and we probably should. We've just always been kind of busy doing a whole bunch of other stuff. But yes, we need to get on that. And so I'm not giving up on my dream of making a bread from that 20-year-old wheat because, I write some sci-fi. I know some sci-fi people. Some of you are some sci-fi people. You read my books. And sci-fi people are like anything that sounds cool, even if it's like ridiculous, even if it's not even real. Like the sci-fi people were the ones who jumped all over the murder hornets, right? Which wasn't even a real thing. That's just some guy came up with that name and they put it in quotes in the headline, and all of a sudden everybody's like, murder hornets! How can 2022 get any crazier? Those things have been around for a long, long time. They're not murder hornets just because somebody called them that. So, anyways, sci-fi minded people, like they'll see an article and it's like scientists scraped yeast from a 3,000-year-old Egyptian sarcophagi, and then made bread. There's yeast in the air that's thousands of years old. If you just leave sugar water out or fruit juice, it's going to ferment. And that is because yeast is in the air. And all of that yeast is propagated from the beginning of the world. I always get cracked up. I watch these science articles and they're like, this is a 7,000-year-old rock. They're all that old. Yeah, I think it's interesting science. It's just baking. All of this stuff, just because you say something's old, it's not really old. But see, that's what I'm doing. So I got this 20-year-old wheat and I want to make some bread from it. I'm not giving up on that dream. I'm going to start some tomorrow, but I got to do a bunch of other things to try to make it work. I'm breathing thousands of year old air. This water, every molecule probably passed through one of the Nephilim. I'm having fun. All right, y'all. It's 50 minutes. I got to go. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank y'all for the super chats. Those definitely make my day. Also are going to help us pay our automotive repair bill. So we appreciate that. Any of you guys want to help us out, go down in the comment section, read all that stuff in there. There's some cool stuff. Join my Patreon. And if you don't like Patreon because they're a bunch of whacknuts who will deplatform you for having an opinion different than theirs, I put a link down in the description, and it just says how to do a monthly patronage without doing Patreon. And all you have to do is click on that link, and it's all set up for you. You just got to put in the numbers and all that stuff, and you can do it without Patreon. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Always, Lord willing, I'll be with you here tomorrow. Can't promise anything, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try to get some sleep tonight. Guess what? Tomorrow starts the last week, the last 7 days of the 30-day challenge. All right, y'all. Thank you. I love you. Go out and prepare because you love other people. God bless you. I'll see you tomorrow.